The NFL world is shaken after Tyreek Hill fired off a furious post, accusing teams of blackballing him after the 2026 draft. He promised a comeback from that knee surgery, but the calls never came. Even after Miami cleared cap space, teams chose rookie speed over a 32-year-old veteran, and insiders say a memo about his medical risk pushed him over the edge. But wait till you hear this in a deleted post. Hill uses one explosive phrase and directly names the AFC executive he believes led the charge to keep him unsigned. September 29, 2025, Monday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins are hosting the New York Jets at Hard Rock Stadium, and Tyreek Hill is doing what Tyreek Hill does, running routes, stretching defenses, making cornerbacks question their career choices. During a Week 4 Monday Night Football contest against the Jets, disaster struck for Hill. He suffered a gruesome injury in which he damaged several ligaments, dislocated his knee, and tore his ACL. That one play changed everything. Hill recorded just 21 catches for 265 yards and a touchdown last season, and those numbers came in only 4 games. Before that injury, the man was on pace for something special. In the 4 games he played before getting hurt, Hill was on a 17-game pace for 1,127 receiving yards. Entering Week 4 last year, Hill had accounted for more than half of the Dolphins' air yards at 53.5%, and his 3 deep receptions of 20 air yards or more almost matched his total from the previous season. But none of that mattered once his knee buckled. Not only did the injury end his 2025 campaign, but it also ended his tenure with Miami. Hill revealed on a Twitch stream that he still needed a second surgery for his LCL. The recovery timeline was unclear. The Dolphins had decisions to make, and the financial situation made those decisions very straightforward. ESPN reported Hill carried a $51.1 million cap hit for 2026. With no guaranteed money left, while Spotrac noted the Dolphins were staring at a March guarantee trigger before cutting him. That is not a typo. $51.1 million in cap space tied to a 32-year-old receiver recovering from a dislocated knee. Spotrac says he signed a 3-year, $90 million reworked extension with Miami in August 2024, but the Dolphins released him before more 2026 money kicked in. $16 million of Hill's 2026 salary was set to become fully guaranteed in March. The Dolphins made it official on February 16, 2026, announcing his release ahead of free agency. On February 16, the Dolphins freed up around $22.8 million in cap space by releasing Hill. And just like that, for the first time in his 10-year NFL career, Tyreek Hill was an unrestricted free agent. No trade package, no team waiting on the other end. Just a man, a shredded knee, and an Instagram account. Hill posted a farewell on Instagram, writing, "The cheetah will be back. And Miami, you have become my home," he added. But the journey doesn't end here. 5 words. That was his promise. And what followed was a series of social media moves that had the entire NFL paying attention. To understand why Tyreek Hill's current situation is generating this much noise, you have to understand just how far this man has come, and exactly what kind of player the NFL is potentially letting walk away. Tyreek Hill was born on March 1, 1994, and played college football for the Garden City Broncbusters, Oklahoma State Cowboys, and West Alabama Tigers, before being selected by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 5th round of the 2016 NFL Draft. He was the 165th pick. He was the first player from West Alabama to be drafted since 1974. Scouts didn't know what to make of him. Some questioned whether a player from a Division II school could translate his track-level speed to the NFL. He answered that question on the very first play of his career. A former track and field star, Hill played primarily as a return specialist as a rookie, but transitioned to strictly playing wide receiver. He wasn't just fast. He reached a speed of 22.77 miles per hour in his rookie season, the fastest speed any NFL player had reached that season. Defensive coordinators started drawing up special packages just to contain him, and even those barely worked. By 2018, he was the most feared weapon in professional football. He eclipsed 1,000 receiving yards in 4 of his 6 Chiefs seasons, including a career-high 1,479 yards in 2018, when Mahomes won NFL MVP. The connection between Mahomes and Hill became the stuff of legend. The two combined on 343 passes, 4,854 yards, and 43 touchdowns in Mahomes' 4 seasons as the starting quarterback. Hill was the receiver on one of the most storied plays in Chiefs history, the 44-yard pass reception known as Jet Chip Wasp. that sparked a fourth-quarter comeback in the Super Bowl live win over the 49ers. In that game, Hill led Kansas City in receptions with 9 and receiving yards with 105, as the Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 31-20. 6 seasons, 6 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pro selections, a Super Bowl ring. And yet, when contract extension talks stalled in 2022, the Chiefs decided to move on. On March 23, 2022, the Chiefs traded Hill to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for a 2022 first-round pick, a 2022 second-round pick, 2 fourth-round picks, and a 2023 sixth-round pick. After the trade was completed, Hill signed a 4-year, $120 million extension. That included $72.2 million guaranteed, making him the highest-paid wide receiver in the NFL. The move was supposed to be the beginning of a new chapter, and for 2 magnificent seasons, it was exactly that. In 2022, he caught 119 passes for 1,710 yards, both career highs, and 7 touchdowns, with that yardage total leading the NFL. Then he followed it up with something even more extraordinary. After an incredible 2023 season in which Hill put up 119 catches for 1,799 yards, a career best, and 13 touchdowns, he was voted the best player in the league in the NFL, top 100 players of 2024. Back-to-back seasons of 119 catches and 1,700-plus receiving yards, the kind of production that belongs in the same conversation as Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Calvin Johnson. Hill's 11,363 career receiving yards ranked 9th most by a player in his first 10 seasons in NFL history, and his 28 touchdowns of 50 yards or longer are the 4th most all-time. But then 2024 arrived, and things started to shift. The Dolphins went 7-10. While Hill played in all 17 games for Miami in 2024, his numbers were unusually low. 81 catches for 959 yards and 6 touchdowns, a steep drop from the previous year. Frustration bubbled to the surface. Hill started posting cryptic messages on social media, hinting at wanting out. Then came the knee injury in 2025, and then came the release. And now, a future Hall of Famer is without a team. Here's where the story gets interesting, because Tyreek Hill didn't just accept his release from Miami and go quiet. He did the exact opposite. In January, before the release even happened, Hill posted on X, "Since we putting in request, I want to go home." That left Atlanta Falcons and Kansas City Chiefs fans confused. Because Hill is a Georgia native, so many thought he meant the Falcons. But Hill's first NFL home was with the Chiefs, where he became a superstar. The ambiguity was deliberate. Hill has always been a master of the cryptic social media post. His comments on various platforms are often cryptic without much context. That's the way he likes it. And fans and media both have to read into what he means. Then, hours after the Dolphins officially released him on February 16th, something remarkable happened in Kansas City. Chiefs pass rusher Chris Jones, Hill's teammate with the Chiefs for 6 seasons, used his X account to send Hill a message that anyone on social media could see. He tagged Hill's account and used the alarm clock emoji to indicate that it was indeed time for the receiver to rejoin the Chiefs. That post went absolutely viral. The implication was unmistakable. Jones wasn't the only person who expressed that a reunion for Hill and the Chiefs for the 2026 season would be beneficial to both parties. 2 days later, Hill fired back with his own move. Hill used his Snapchat account to show that he was back in Kansas City to visit family members and to continue his rehab. And of course, Hill's profile photo showed him in a Chiefs uniform. Posting on his Snapchat on the morning of February 18th, Hill posted a picture of himself geotagged in Kansas City alongside the time. He didn't just happen to be in town. He made absolutely certain the entire world knew he was there. Then in April, Hill escalated further. Hill took to Snapchat to share a post about his former team, including a photo of himself with Chiefs coach Andy Reid. A photo with Andy Reid. Not a random gym selfie. Not a vacation snapshot. A deliberate, calculated image of him standing beside the head coach of the team he wants to rejoin. On another occasion, Tyreek shared a picture on his Instagram story featuring him lifting weights while lying on a bench. And while he didn't confirm whether it was the Chiefs' training facility, he did give away the location in the caption. Each post was a message, not to his fans, not to the media, to every general manager in the NFL. The message was simple: I'm still here, I'm still working, and I still have value. So if Tyreek Hill is still one of the most recognizable names in football, why is his phone not ringing? Why is a player with 819 career receptions, 11,363 receiving yards, and 83 touchdowns sitting at home in late April with no contract? The answer comes down to three brutal intertwined factors: the injury, the age, and the money. The veteran suffered a dislocated knee, torn ACL, and multiple ligaments, and this may be impacting his free agency. This was not a standard ACL tear. He had a really tough injury. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill ACL, his agent Drew Rosenhaus said on the Stephen A. Smith Show. It was a multiple ligament injury. NFL.com reported Hill is rehabbing a major leg injury, and CBS Sports said he suffered a knee dislocation in Week 4, then underwent surgery for an ACL tear. That makes his market less about name value and more about recovery timeline, medical evaluations, and whether teams believe he can still be Tyreek Hill on the other side of rehab. There's also the age factor. He is 32 years old, which matters because age plus a major knee injury is a harder bet than age alone. Considering Hill will be 32 next season and his game is mainly based on supersonic speed, it is not out of pocket to question whether he can return to form. Speed is the currency Tyreek Hill has traded on for his entire career. When a receiver loses even a fraction of a step at 32 years old after a multi-ligament knee reconstruction, the calculus changes for every front office in the league. Additionally, at 32 years of age and carrying a poor off-field reputation, Hill brings significant baggage to his next destination that teams may not want to deal with. And then there's the financial component. Some teams may be wary of adding him before they can see him work out, especially given how significant the injury was. Nobody wants to invest in a player who might not be ready until mid-season, or might not be the same player when he does return. The 2026 NFL Draft is here, which means free agency has completely ground to a halt, and all 32 teams are focused on the three-day event in Pittsburgh. For the free agents who are left on the market, that means they are in a holding pattern until after the 2026 NFL Draft wraps up, at which point teams who fail to address their needs with draft picks will begin to circle the free agent pool again. That holding pattern has been painful. This free agency window provided some comparable contracts to what Hill might receive. Chicago signed Lions wide receiver Khalif Raymond to a one-year, $3.26 million deal, and Arizona signed Kendrick Bourne for 2 years at a $5 million annual average. Those are the kinds of contracts being handed out to veteran receivers right now. For a man who once signed a deal worth $120 million, the market reality is a humbling experience. Pro Football Network projected that Hill would sign a one-year contract worth $10.1 million. That figure sounds reasonable for a player of his pedigree, but the fact that he remains unsigned weeks after that projection tells you everything about the level of uncertainty surrounding his return. A former NFL personnel executive told Fox Sports when asked about Hill's market, "Ask me in November," suggesting nobody truly knows whether Hill can play at a high level again until they see it with their own eyes. The landing spots and the loudest whisper. Despite the silence from front offices, the speculation about where Hill might end up has been relentless. And one destination has dominated the conversation above all others: Kansas City. Former Pro Bowl receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh pointed to the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, and Washington Commanders as potential landing spots for Hill. Let's start with the Chargers. Per Spotrac, no team in the NFL has more current cap space than the Los Angeles Chargers, who have $99.5 million. And their need is obvious, as none of their receivers had 800-plus yards last season. Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston are a good pairing in theory, but they could use someone who demands attention all over the field. And LA has a great quarterback in Justin Herbert, and is projected to be a playoff contender for the third year in a row under Jim Harbaugh. There's also an intriguing wrinkle. Could Tyreek Hill reunite with Mike McDaniel, who is now the offensive coordinator of the Chargers? Hill thrived under McDaniel's offensive system in Miami, and that familiarity could be a significant draw. Then there's Washington. The Commanders could use more speed on the perimeter to pair with veteran Terry McLaurin, as the Commanders finished with just 40 passing plays of at least 20 yards last season, 27th in the league. Houshmandzadeh said, "I do like the Commanders, because if you put him and McLaurin together, that's a deadly duo if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy." The Green Bay Packers emerged as a sleeper option. One sleeper team for Hill could be the Packers, who could use another wide receiver for the 2026 season. Green Bay's offense became stagnant down the stretch last season, and due to the injury, Hill wouldn't be counted on extremely heavily, which could be perfect for the Packers. The Los Angeles Rams represent another dark horse contender. The Rams could be another sleeper team for Hill, as they have expressed interest in adding more wide receiver help this offseason, even with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Los Angeles is looking to bring in more talent, and putting Hill as the third option in this Rams offense could be special. The New England Patriots have also been floated repeatedly. When they let Stephon Diggs go, the New England Patriots took a legitimate #1 wide receiver away from young franchise quarterback Drake May. But the Pats have a key reason to take Hill off the market and put a marquee replacement on the roster. Pairing Hill with a rising quarterback like Drake May could unlock his big play ability again. And with head coach Mike Vrabel's track record of getting the best out of his players, the Patriots front office can believe they could get another All-Pro campaign out of Hill. But it always circles back to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill formed one of the top quarterback wide receiver duos in the league during their time together with the Chiefs. The last time the Chiefs had a 1,000-yard receiver, it was Tyreek Hill in 2021. Think about that. 5 seasons without a single 1,000-yard receiver. That's how much his departure changed the complexion of the Chiefs' offense. The Chiefs certainly could use help on the perimeter after finishing their first losing season with Mahomes under center. Kansas City averaged 6.8 yards per pass attempt in 2025, tied for 21st in the NFL. The Chiefs could certainly use all the help they can get at the wide receiver position in 2026, with their top wideout of 2025, Marquise Hollywood Brown, signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy recently returned to Kansas City, and the Chiefs offer familiar surroundings for Hill, including those who know how to best use him on the field. Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator during Hill's peak years. The system, the language, the relationships, all of it is still intact. House Manzadeh put it plainly, "I don't think the Chiefs have been the same offensively since Hill left." Yeah, you can say they won the Super Bowl when he left, but they did not instill the fear of God in teams when they left. They were winning games because of their defense, not because of their offense. Tyreek goes back to the Chiefs, where Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid really know how to use you. Former Chief Tyrann Mathieu echoed the sentiment. Given the guys that they have on the roster now, he might be the person to sort of lift those guys' play. One of the things that impressed me most with Tyreek was he was just like me. He doesn't miss practice. He's going to take all his reps. He doesn't miss no games. And Andy Reid, he didn't slam the door. "We go through everything and everybody in free agency," Reid said. That's how general manager Brett Veach does it. I'm sure Hill's working hard on that rehab part of it and trying to get all that straightened out. That's as close to a green light as Andy Reid ever gives in a public setting. Later, reports claim the team is monitoring the player's progress, clearly indicating its interest in having him on board. The Cheetah's last run. So here we are. The 2026 NFL Draft has come and gone. Free agency has slowed to a crawl. And Tyreek Hill, the man nicknamed the Cheetah, the man who once ran a 4.29-second 40-yard dash, the man who has 8 Pro Bowl selections and 5 All-Pro nods to his name, remains unsigned. Having been released by the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill now finds himself an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his illustrious career. At 32 years old with declining numbers, coming off a season-ending injury. But here's what everyone keeps forgetting. Drew Rosenhaus, Hill's agent, said his client is waiting until medical clearance to sign with a new team. He wants to play for a contender. In talking to Tyreek, our focus is on him getting back to 100%. I spoke to his doctors recently. He's on point to be ready for the season. This isn't a player who is fading into retirement. This isn't a player who has accepted his fate. This is a player who has chosen deliberately and strategically to wait. House Manzadeh believes if Hill returns healthy, there will be a strong market for his services, and he can be an asset for a contending team. Tyreek Hill is so explosive, he's not just quick, he's quick and fast. It's a no-brainer if you're a team that feels like you're one big play receiver away from competing for a Super Bowl. Look at the career numbers one more time. Across 10 NFL seasons, 6 with the Kansas City Chiefs and 4 with the Miami Dolphins, Hill has totaled 819 receptions, 11,363 receiving yards, and 90 touchdown scores, along with 8 Pro Bowl selections, 5 All-Pro honors, 6 1,000-plus yard seasons, and a Super Bowl win in 2019-20. He was a first-team All-Pro and came in second for Offensive Player of the Year voting just in 2023. That was 2 seasons ago, not a decade, not a distant memory. 2 seasons, the social media posts, the photos in Kansas City, the Snapchat geotags, the picture with Andy Reid, the farewell to Miami. Those weren't the ramblings of a player who doesn't know where he stands. Those were calculated messages from a competitor who wants every team in the league to know exactly 2 things: he is recovering and he is available. A Hill and Chiefs reunion makes a ton of sense. The Chiefs haven't adequately filled Hill's void since they traded him, and Kansas City would provide Hill a comfortable and familiar place to rehab his knee injury and revitalize the back half of his career. He should still find a home ahead of 2026, and whether the decision comes in the midst of free agency or closer to the fall, it will be worth monitoring as the future Hall of Famer sets out for his retirement tour. That phrase, retirement tour, might be premature because Tyreek Hill isn't posting on social media like a man preparing to say goodbye. He's posting like a man preparing to prove everyone wrong. Every Snapchat selfie in Kansas City, every workout video tagged from a weight room, every photo alongside the coaches who turned him into a superstar, those are not goodbye letters. Those are declarations of war. The NFL may have left Tyreek Hill behind, but the Cheetah has always been fastest when the world counts him out. A 5th-round pick who became the highest-paid receiver in football history. A small school track star who terrorized the greatest defenses ever assembled. A player who, at 30 years old, put up 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns in a single season. Numbers that most receivers couldn't dream of in their absolute prime. The league can take its time. Teams can run their draft boards and sign their rookies and pretend the phone doesn't exist. But when the regular season approaches and contenders start looking for that missing piece, that one weapon who can change a game in a single snap, they'll remember who's still out there. They'll remember who's been working in silence while the rest of the league moves on. And they'll remember those 5 words: the Cheetah will be back.